Hi, my name is Catherine. Do you talk a lot about your life on social networks? I got into an unpleasant situation as of late. Here's the story. I'm 24 and I work in an economics department of a large company. I spend my free time reading art books, going to art exhibitions. I have a beloved dog named Bloom. She's a golden retriever. She's a gift from my parents on my 20th birthday. She's fond of photos. We love making selfies and then I post them to social networks. One day, Bloom and I went for a run. I forgot water and hopped in a supermarket tying Bloom outside. I was gone for 10 minutes, and when I got out, Bloom wasn't there. I panicked and rushed about looking for her, but she was gone. I searched the neighborhood for 2 hours asking passerbys if they saw her, but no one had. I was so scared for her. I put an ad on social networks with our pics and my phone number. Sent it to all my friends and neighbors. I had my phone about me at all times, taking every call in hopes that it was someone who'd found Bloom. But I only got random commercial calls. Then a young lady called. She said, "I found your dog." So we met, and it turned out it was a different dog. Even the breed was different. I was losing hope. And then, after a whole month, a man called and said he had Bloom. He was ready to give her up. He said to meet him at noon in Central Park. I wasn't about to get my hopes up, but still. Dave said that he'd found Bloom out of town, all muddy and without a collar. He'd realized it was someone's dog and was looking for her owner. But he only saw my ad a month later. He called me and knew he hadn't been wrong. I was beside myself with happiness, seeing Bloom safe and sound, and Dave seemed like a nice person. His face even seemed kind of familiar. I offered him a reward, but he said that he'd prefer to buy me a cup of coffee. I couldn't say no. As we talked, it turned out we went to the same school. Dave is of Moroccan descent, and he was born in New York City. We had so much in common, it felt like we'd known each other for years. He watched my favorite TV shows, and has even subscribed to my favorite art blogs, and can even tell the difference between Monet and Monet. He even guessed how I liked my coffee. Bloom got attached to her savior, and we began meeting occasionally, then dating. When we were 3 months into our relationship, Dave invited me to his house outside of the city. It was a huge mansion on a lake shore. There were swans and water lilies in the lake and a garden with fruit trees, like out of a fairy tale. It felt so cozy. Bloom felt completely at home while she's usually cautious around new places. She ran around just like a puppy. Once, after lunch, Dave offered to show me around the hood. So he got out a picnic basket and Bloom and I were waiting downstairs. "Bloom? Outside?" I said, and she instantly reacted, rushing towards the garage. She started digging in an old box. And she got her own collar and a leash. It was handmade, with a silver name tag and my phone number, the one she had on the day she disappeared. And it had been cut off with a sharp knife. I was shocked. I mean, how would you feel if you were in my place? This was the moment Dave broke down. He stood still. He said very slowly that he loves me, but there were a few things that I should know. He'd been in love with me since school. Always wanted me to be his girlfriend, but I was dating someone else back then. Besides, he was too shy to even approach me. Thought I'd tell him off. 10 years have passed, and his feelings have remained. He couldn't forget me. 3 years ago, he'd found my social network page. All these years, he'd been stalking me on social networks. He knew where I went, who with, and when I got Bloom. And after I'd broken up with yet another boyfriend, he decided it was time to act. He decided to steal Bloom. He'd been following me around the park for a few days, and when I hopped into the store, he cut Bloom's leash. He held her for a month so that she got used to him. He thought only Bloom would bring us together. He cried and apologized profusely, swearing it was only because of love. I couldn't believe my ears. I was simultaneously scared and disgusted and hurt. And I was also sorry for Dave. This looked like something a madman would have done. But over the time we've been together, I got really attached to him, and this only made things worse. I know that perhaps he's just a shy guy who made a mistake, but who knows what he's capable of. I made my decision. I said I'd call the police if he moves. Then I took my things, called a taxi, got Bloom, and left. I was shaking with fury all the way home. I don't know what happened to him next, but I think he needs professional help. Hopefully he finds good therapy. Next morning, though, I woke up because someone was pounding on my window. Dave was outside holding a rope. He yelled about being sorry and begged me to hear him out. I got scared for real, screamed and called the police. He could have fallen down. Luckily, they came fast and got him off of my window. I was crushed. It took a long time to pull myself together. I myself had to get professional help to get this out of my head. After this, I'm trying to be more careful about what I post on the internet, but I'm not going to hide from family and friends. Would you be able to give up social networks, or is that something impossible for you? Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button. This way, you'll know when we post our next videos. Please like this story and share it with friends. Have a great day, and may all of your relationships be healthy.